100 billion, 200 billion, how much?
Well, I mean, given the efforts of the current administration, I think we're thinking that especially if Nigeria is to meet the Maputo target and the goal of self-sufficiency, and like the president has said, the issue of supporting agriculture as Nigeria's next oil. If you are thinking of supporting across the agricultural value chain, we think that a minimum recapitalization of about 250 billion naira would do. That could be spread over a couple of years if Nigeria is to take its rightful place in the scheme of things.
So talk to us. If you get this much money, if you have more capital, will you be able to lend more, particularly to those, not just the farmers now of rice, wheat, ginger, but also to the others who are part of the agri-development, talking about those in the fishery business, for instance, in the aquatic industry?
Exactly. I mean, being recapitalized means that we will be able to augment our current resources, be able to support not only in terms of volumes, but also in terms of new products, like you mentioned, arable crops, fisheries, livestock, but also in the export sector. The recapitalization, like I've also said, would also help us to, if you like, automate our processes. A disturbing aspect of our current operations is that half of them are done manually. Now, with increased resources, we'll be able to complete the ongoing computerization of our system. But equally important is the knowledge hub. The modern agriculture is no longer subsistence. It has to be done on a professional basis. The information system, the data, I mean the agricultural statistics that we need in order to map out strategies that are in consonance with best practices in emerging economies would also be able to mount it with the recapitalization of the bank.
Professor Danjoo, let's quickly take a break and catch our breath and come back and we'll finish up this conversation. Welcome back. You're watching Business Morning on Channels Television. Professor Dambala Danjoo, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Agriculture, still with me in the studios, and he is in our Abuja studios and here in Lagos as we talk about Nigeria's economic development and the place of the Bank of Agriculture. Professor Danjoo, thank you so much for sticking around. So let's try to wrap up this conversation now and take a look at how much of an impact are you expecting, for instance, in the 2017 budget, what was allocated to agriculture? How much of an impact are you expecting this will have? And what role will the Bank of Agriculture play to ensure that there's a maximum impact on the agriculture sector in 2017?
Well, our plan is clear. We want to further consolidate on our support to smallholder farmers, as well as expand into other areas of agribusiness. We have more than 12 states now that want to partner with the Bank of Agriculture. We have already targeted about 113,000 smallholder farmers in various areas, particularly in the areas of rice, in the areas of wheat, tomato, ginger, and soya beans. Now, these are critical areas for Nigeria to achieve self-sufficiency in food production. We are also looking at partnering with other, if you like, organizations, and especially in the private sector, to support commercial agriculture on a large scale. Now, this we split this into both wet season and dry season farming. It's our intention, in tandem with the objectives of the current administration, to try to support all year-round farming. In this respect, we are also partnering with the Ministry of Water Resources and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture to ensure that more youths as well as women are brought into the farming profession.
Professor Danjoo, talk to us a little bit about what the average rate, interest rates the bank charges, because you're encouraging farmers and others in the agric value chain to come to the Bank of Agriculture to access finance. Now, the only way you can get such people to come is if they have very friendly interest rates. So does the Bank of Agriculture have friendly interest rates?
I think we do. If you compare what the commercial banks are charging, 18, 20, 25%, the Bank of Agriculture charges about 9 to 12%, or at most 14%. In this case, you see that interest rate is relatively cheaper with the Bank of Agriculture, and so also the tenor. But we also expect that with additional funding from other sources that are more concessionary, we'll be able to offer much lower interest rate. And don't forget, not only interest rates, but also the form of support in terms of extension services and complementary support that the Bank of Agriculture provides. Because here is where you have the largest concentration of agricultural specialists. So the interest rate is indeed an important component, but also we support farmers through the extension services and other forms of support, like helping them to provide, to prepare their business proposals, which all bring the cost of support to farmers to a much more reasonable level compared to, let's say, the deposit money banks.
Professor Danjoo, talk to us a little bit about additional funds. You mentioned additional funds. So is the Bank of Agriculture looking, for instance, to international development finance institutions like the AFDB for additional funding in 2017?
Exactly. Indeed, what we're trying to do is we are trying to reposition the bank, conduct skill audit, identify the business model that best serves a bank like ours, so as to assess funding from, if you like, multilateral development institution. We are in talk with the African Development Bank, and recently we signed a memorandum of understanding with Credit Agricole based in Morocco, and we are also looking to tap into the non-interest banking system of the Islamic Development Bank. Now, these and other partnerships, like we are working with agricultural mechanization company in China, are all aimed at crowding in resources, both financial and non-financial, in order to support farmers in various areas.
Danjoo, we're counting down to the end of 2016. So much to look forward to in 2017, especially the agricultural sector. And we're talking about using agriculture to get out of recession. So can we expect great things to come out of the Bank of Agriculture, or Bank of Agriculture next year?
Indeed, I think in line with the President's wish, as well as the Honorable Minister, we are lining up a number of things to support farmers, and we are trying to crowd in investment both from within and from outside. We're working with the private sector in Nigeria to reposition Nigeria's agricultural sector. We are so excited. We cannot wait for the dawn of 2017. We think it's going to be a great year for Nigeria.
Professor Dambala Danjoo, Chief Executive Officer of the Bank of Agriculture, thank you so much for your time and, of course, giving us a sense of where the bank actually is with regards lending to farmers and others in the agri value chain.